Hi, everybody. Today's Mention It Monday is coming to you a little late this afternoon. We had some tech troubles, and so we're doing it now. But we're really happy to have you join us. Today's Mention It Monday, let me say Mention It Monday again. Today's Mention It Monday is about quilting. And ordinarily, over the last few times that it's been about quilting, I've shown you handy quilter products. But today, I want to show you some products for the domestic machine quilter, specifically like ruler work. We have a domestic machine quilting class going on right now, and it just so happens it's a series of 6 classes, and it just so happens that this week's class is about ruler work. So I kind of wanted to highlight something I found on our wall, on our westerly wall. If you'll look right here, you'll see that this collection of rulers, this ruler work kit, regularly $230, is available to you on an everyday discounted price at $175. But because I have decided to feature this on Mention It Monday, it's $175. It's 20% off that $175 price. And it has some really nifty stuff in it. First off, it has 7 unique rulers for quilting with. It has the foot, the specialized ruler foot that you need, and it has the spacing gauge. And then the last thing I wanted to, and I'll tell you about this one, the crosshair square, which works like a template. So the other thing I'd want to draw attention to is that there are 2 different kinds of these. One is for the high shank machine, and one is for the low shank machine. And in just a minute, Charity is going to zoom in on here so I can show you the difference between these 2. The first thing I would tell you is you do need a unique foot, and this is the high shank ruler foot. If you have a high shank machine, this is the foot you would need. And if you have a low shank machine, it looks exactly the same, just shorter. So you would need to choose. And if you don't know whether your machine is high shank or low shank, give us a call and we'll help you figure that out. But this is the high shank version of the high shank version of the westerly ruler foot. So why the difference? What difference besides the foot? What difference is there? And I want you to notice these 2 rulers, or templates as we call them. This one is for the low shank machine. It's only 1/8 of an inch thick, and so it will fit around my foot in a 360-degree arc because it's short enough to fit under that low shank machine. And then I have the 1/4 inch foot, or the high shank foot, the high shank template, which is 1/4 inches thick, and it will go again on this high shank machine. It would go all the way around. If I tried to use a high shank foot, no, let me say that better. If I tried to use a high shank ruler on a low shank machine, I would not be able to get behind my foot because the shank is so low that when I was in the down position, it would hit that. And so it's really critical that you get the exact right one that you're going to use. Now I'm using the Juki DX3000 machine, and this machine has a foot built into it. In its accessories, it has a foot that serves well as a ruler foot. And so I'm going to go ahead and use it. So let me just very quickly, let me see if I remembered my gloves. All right, now no judging my cruddy gloves. They have done a lot of sewing. So it wouldn't hurt to wash them. Machine gears, I have to use some kind of glove whenever I do ruler work, free motion quilting, walking, but anytime I'm pushing fabric, I got to wear a pair of gloves or something. Now, sometimes for free motion, I like to use a device like this. And we have these. They come 2 to a package, a large and a small, and they make moving my fabric in free motion kind of easier. Because I have a tendency to push down too hard. As I get anxious as I'm going, I have a tendency to push down. But my ruler can actually serve a very similar purpose. So let me just show you a little bit. I'm just going to do some straight line work as if I were as if I were doing ditch work. And here's my little tail I've already tied on, and here we go. Now, why would I want to do ruler work? So let me just ride that straight down. Let me move my tools out of the way. Let me just ride that straight down. Okay, and I'm going to stop. I like my machine to stop in the needle down position. One of the things I failed to tell you about is with most rulers, with all templates, when quilting, you really need to put something on the back of it to keep it from sliding. If I need it to slide, I can always flip it over, but I need something on the back. And Westerly has a product they call stable tape. I've not applied it to this because this is for sale. And thank you. And I don't want to put it on a ruler that is for sale, but it's sticky on one side and kind of rubbery on the other side, like cabinet liner almost, except it's sticky on one side. So I could use something like this, and it's a really good resource. Handy Quilter also has one that works on any ruler, whether it's for a long arm or whether you're pushing a machine or pushing a fabric, and it's called Handy Grip. And what it does is it keeps it from moving. Here, if I flip it over on the slippery side, it moves easily, and here it doesn't. And so it gives me a little traction so I don't slip around. So understand that I'm going to struggle just a little bit because I don't have any stable tape on the back of this. Now, if I were trying to do straight line work with my walking foot on a king size quilt, and it's time for me to make a solid 90-degree right turn, I would have to heft that quilt all the way around and start in a new direction. But because I'm doing ruler work, the only thing I need to move is this little bitty template. So I'm going to move it to the front. You'll notice that the edge of my foot is about 1/4 inch from the point of my needle. So I'm going to keep an eye on keeping the edge of my ruler to within 1/4 inch of my stitch line. And in a quilt, this would be what we would call our ditch. And here we go. Trying to keep myself as straight as possible. And you see that this became like a pusher for me. It gave me something to push my fabric with. I super wish I had something sticky on it. I have tried Grippy Spray. If you've tried our Grippy Spray, it's pretty nifty too. I do have to wash it and reapply it every couple of quilts. And here we go. And see, here's where I'm going to struggle because I can't pull to me using my ruler quite as easily without that tape on there. So here we go. And I'm just going to reposition. You'll notice I do not outsew my hands. If I need to reposition my hands, I pause, lift my foot, and reposition. And there's my down spot. Now, and this is why that was important, whether I had a low shank or high shank. Now you see my ruler is positioned all the way to the back. And if I had a high shank ruler on a low shank machine, as soon as this went down, this elbow right back here would bang into that template. So it's really important. And that's as far as I can go comfortably. I'm going to reposition my hands. My thread's going to shred. I needed to change this needle before we started. Really quickly, I am going to rethread my machine. And don't you just love a machine that has an upper thread, scissors. I don't know what I'd do without a machine with scissors built in. And really quickly, let me get this rethreaded. So the next thing I want to show you is how to stitch a curve. It's not possible for me in free motion, and I suppose there are folks out there much more famous than me who can stitch perfect little arcs in free motion. I'm not one of them. And so I have to have some kind of tool to help me do that. I have to have something to help me achieve an arc that is consistent and clean. So I'm going to do that with this little ruler. It was the same ruler. It wasn't. This one has a deeper arc to it. So now I'm just going to go from this point, from this upper corner to this center. One of the things I really like underneath my machine when I'm using ruler work is a super slider. And I should have fetched that one too. A super slider makes this really easy too, or easier. I took my gloves off. I'll leave them off. And here we go. Let me make sure I'm threaded. Oops, don't skip that part. I have too much stuff on top of my thread, Charity.
I would get you for that.
I really like using a thread stand way more than putting it on the thread holder itself. I really like a thread stand. I want that thread to come over off the top of that spool and over the top of my machine. Okay, let me get back into position. And you'll notice, remember how I mentioned that needle is 1/4 of an inch away? Look right here. I've got to position this template so it is 1/4 of an inch away because that's where I want to land. And here we go. Oh, I still didn't thread that right. Crud.
Oh, the fun of live television, ladies.
You know, it is what it is.
I know. We even practiced, everybody.
I feel like I need to rethread the whole thing. My needle up position. There we go. Let's just rethread the whole thing. This little Juki is a dream. Oh, somebody's bear fell on my thread. That's what happened. Remember, but way back when we started doing this, we said we were like Lucy and Ethel eating chocolates. This is an example of Lucy and Ethel eating chocolates as fast as I'm eating chocolates as fast as I can. There we go. We're going to try this again. All right. In the starting position, needle down, and my goal is to land right here. Now, here's a curious little thing about ruler work. We have a tendency, as we come around an arc, to move off the arc. The thing in motion wants to stay in motion. In this case, I want to keep going the direction I went. I started out as. And I have a tendency to flare off at the 10 o'clock, the 2 o'clock, the 4 o'clock, and the 8 o'clock position as I go around a circle. I call that the Dr. Pepper effect. So I'm going to be really careful to pay attention to stay snugged up against this template. Oh, for crying out loud. Y'all are just going to have to trust me. I'm going to go as if I were sewing. And just like that, I hit that point. So holding your ruler in the right position, threading your needle properly, apparently, are all part of this. Now let me show you one more thing. This nifty little deal, and I have one right here. This is also included in this kit. I used a water racing marker. I don't choose to use air erase here in Oklahoma because when it's humid, I don't choose to use air erase because the moisture in the air will cause my marks to go away faster. And I'm not a fast quilter, so they go away too quickly for me as I'm sewing along. And I'm like, my lines are disappearing. So instead I use a water erase, which means I just need to get this good and wet after I'm finished to make these lines go away. And in this case, I have the opportunity to an 8-point crosshair ruler. So I can make 8 points, and I'll show you what I did earlier since I don't seem to be able to thread my needle all of a sudden. And here I use that same template. I started at the center, I went to that upper corner, I flipped my ruler, and I came back down. And that's just the very first melon shape. If I were to repeat this across all 8 points of the compass, I would have a beautiful little flower shape built into my block. I would have that quilted in there. So that little tool is really nifty. There's one more westerly tool that I saw on the wall that I hadn't noticed before, and I'm super excited about. It's called an add-a handle. So this is kind of a long little pitch than most of our Mention It Mondays, but I really wanted to get into this with you. This little add-a handle product is really cool. They are just little acrylic pieces that have a sticky it's not repositional, permanent tape on one side. And so I can position one of these on my ruler and create for myself a handle. So let me show you this. If I were to pull that tape off, I could position this on here, and now I would have a handle for holding on to my ruler. And sometimes it's a little hard to do. It'd be nice to be able to have something I can really grip hold of on this ruler. So this is another piece of Westerly product that I'm super excited about. So I hope you are too. Remember, regular price MSRP is $230, on sale here at $175, and we're going to mark it down another 20% for you. That's the foot, the ruler, it has 7 rulers in it, and the 8-point stencil. So that's a really good deal. Just remember, you need the high shank or the low shank. You choose for yourself. And then if you'd like to get the add a handle or the stable tape, that's also 20% off, just because I talked about it. Any quilting tool, just stop by the store. We'll chat about it. I can talk about quilting all day long. Lessons? Classes. Charity's making faces at me because I always forget what I need to talk about. So really quickly, now that we've gone through that product, let me tell you really quickly about some classes that are coming up. The first one I want to tell you about is the Janome 15,000 series. Oh, you want me to put it up here? Okay. The Janome 15,000 series class, except if I put it there, I can't read about it. Hang on a second, folks. Let's see. Second Wednesday. That's what I meant. Second Wednesday from 2 to 4. It's a 5-part series with the 5th class being a project. If you own a 15,000 Janome, that's a serious machine, and you may need some leadership for how to use it in its best ways, whether it's embroidery, and that's what the next one, the June one, is about, I believe, embroidery, but check. How to quilt with it, how to sew, just generalized sewing, all the way to August when it's a project class. The Janome 15,000 club series, we used to do this at the old store, and we've restarted it now here. And of course, Deb teaches it, and it's a great class to come to. The next one I want to tell you about is Pep Club, and I'll look before I pass it off. That's every 4th Wednesday. Most of Deb's classes you'll see are on Wednesdays. Every 4th Wednesday, and it's the same. It's a 5-part series with the August class being a project day. So June is creating beautiful monograms. If you own Perfect Embroidery Professional, Perfect Embroidery Professional. I have the hardest time remembering that name. PEP software by Dime. This is a great class to come and learn how to be a digitizer. Deb is really good at this, and she has really worked hard to put together a curriculum for you that'll teach you how to use your software. The last Deb class I'll tell you about, and you'll see there's a theme here. It's all about Deb. The next one I'll tell you about is on June 24th from 10:30 to 4:30, and that is Kimberbell. Deb is our Kimberbell teacher. We are an authorized retailer for the Kimberbell project, and she is trained by Kimberbell to teach these classes. If you've seen those, they are these lovely little, they're cutest things ever. Bench pillows for every season, for every season, every reason. There's a song coming. So she does, that's what this one is. And this is the 4th of July one called something home. Let's see, Main Street Celebration. So it has a 4th of July theme to it, and it is as cute as it can be. You're not going to finish this pillow, but she's going to get you started down best practices for how to achieve this. And they are seriously, I can't think of a better word to say than serious cuteness. The last class is the one that's coming soonest. This is in 2 weeks. This class is our ultimate travel bag. We only have 5 spots left in the class. It is $60 for the class. It is 3 days It is 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday. And then the following Saturday, if you haven't finished, you are welcome to come back and with her guidance, come and finish your bag on that second Saturday. It is really awesome. And I picked the fabric. It is a really cute bag. It has all kinds of pockets and zippers. And did you know that a small sewing machine would fit in there? A featherweight or a little gem platinum? Any one of them would. It'll fit on your luggage even. Has a little bar, a little strap right here. So it'll fit on your rolling luggage. It is seriously cute. For $75, which is a significant discount, for $75, we have the kit. We have 14 colors of mesh, zipper. We've got hardware feet. Really only, and of course the foam. Really the only thing you need to pick is the fabric, and you get to pick the one that you want. So that is June 4th and 5th. You do come with pre-quilted fabric, so if you want to come in on the 3rd and quilt your fabric, you can do that. We're just doing an open sew that day. We'd like to have you in for the ultimate bag class, June 3rd, 4th, and the 12th. I think that's everything. Have I thought of everything? Let me tell you, if you haven't heard now, I don't know where you've been. We have a quilt show coming. June 17th, 18th, and 19th is the Oklahoma City Quilt, Craft, and Sewing Festival. You'll hear us referring to it as Rusty Barn, which is their old name. And so I have a hard time remembering to call it by its name. This is at the fairgrounds. Stop by the store, pick up a coupon, pick up free tickets to get in. We'd love to see you there. We're going to have an enormous booth. A lot of local vendors will be there, but even better, a lot of regional and people we haven't seen in a whole year and a half will be there. And we're excited to have you join us there. So come to the quilt show on June 17th, 18th, and 19th. Oh, guess what is like 15 minutes away? Is Stash Builders. Today it is the rainbow. Charity has put us together a rainbow, 2 colors from each piece of the rainbow. So that's what we'll be sewing with and stash building with today. We hope to join you in 15 minutes for Stash Builders. Until then, I'll see you next Monday at Mention It.
Are you hunting for a giant boost of creative energy and searching to find out all the cool sewing ideas that are possible? You'll get that boost of inspiration at the Oklahoma Quilt, Craft, and Sewing Festival. It's June 17th through the 19th in the Pavilion in the State Fair Park in OKC. And for some great hourly giveaways, visit the Stitching Post booth while you're there. For more information, visit sewbargain.com. That's SEWBARGAIN.com.
No,
Stash Builder.